6:24. We plan to leave at 7 o'clock. Here's Bill doing his yearly thing.
Great, I lost my voice in the first half hour. If you're going to use your sleeping bag tonight, save it out to the very last and I'll just put it in front.
And we're off on our annual trip to Death Valley. People standing around. Soon they'll find out that they don't stand around very long. There's Allison. And there's Wildman Bill. Okay, next stop is going to be Winnemucca. It's just the last minute shot of some of the smart Alecks here while they're looking good before I get done with them. Huh? And there's Allison with her stuff, and I know there's somebody over here. Oh yeah. Well, somebody say something because it's video, it's got audio. Okay. It's March 20th, and we're about 60 miles north of Austin, and we're looking at Slade and a whole group of people who are looking at what? What is it? Spiny hop sage and bud sage, two native plants of the basin and range. And some lichens. And what's everybody walking on? Cryptobiotic soils.
Huh? Well, no, we're trying to follow a cow track. But,
like right in here?
yeah. Just look for...
You're on. Better say something. It's got to sound good now. We got a little bit of everything here. We're looking at bud sage and cryptobiotic soils. I'm going to let everybody tromp all these cryptobiotic soils to death so that later on we can talk about it, and then everybody's going to feel guilty. I'm the official recorder of activities and events. So we're still north of Austin, and we just stop periodically to see what's going on. Yeah. Okay, here I come. Okay, 11:30. We're in Round Mountain, Central Nevada, in the Great Smoky Valley, and it's, we're going through the Great Smokies is right between the Toyabe Range, which is what we're looking at right here, the Toyabe, and unfortunately we got to go look at the town of Round Mountain here and swing around to our group. And you can't see it in the background, but there's the Toquina Range is on the opposite side here. I'll go all the way around. There's the Toquina Range in the background. The crystalline green? Are you talking about a rock here? Oh, olivine. Olivine is the green. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I'll have to take a look. We got Eric here looking for the wild rye, which is the plant that I'm aiming at right now. There's wild rye, giant wild rye, Elymus cinereus. Yep, that's it. It's a native grass here in the Great Basin. This was supposed to be just a pit stop, but everybody jumps out and looks at plants, but you can't say no to that. Okay, this is, well, let's see what time it is. It's 5? Nah, yep, that's right, 5:54. We got an efficient group here this morning. This is the first morning in Death Valley, and right now we're kind of taking a sweep of the view from our campsite. This is the Panamint Mountains in the background. Highest peak is Telescope Peak, a little over 12,000 feet high. This is the general campground. looking down across the bottom of Death Valley. There's our busy little group down there. We had a little conflict last night. Had to defend our area against some other people. But we won out in the end, and here we are. We'll go down there in a few minutes and see what people had to say for breakfast. But first, just kind of pan around here and take a look at our little campground. This is ours. This is us. So this is Clackamas Community College, tucked into the Furnace Creek Formation. Wonderful little spot when it's dry, kind of soggy and mucky when it's wet, but luckily that doesn't happen too often. And there we have a couple people waving at us already this morning, pretending like they're awake. Okay. Well, let's go down and see what's happening in the mess hall this morning. This is the breakfast lineup. I don't know who was on breakfast detail this morning. There's the lunch detail. Everyone's already had their lunches. There's Ryan, who we happened to forget about in Winnemucca. Poor Ryan walked into town at midnight, walked the length of Winnemucca, found his room. We forgot about him. Didn't even have the right room. He had to sleep on the floor in one of the rooms during the night. We won't talk about that. Let's see. I think it's eggs this morning. Where's the what? You have to say that on video. Where's the cup? Well, I don't know. How's that for an answer? I can find you a cup in there. Let's go over the credit.
If you're a veg, move.
Okay, Mark. Show us what we're having for breakfast. Tell me, is it edible?
I'm not really sure what's in this egg stuff, but
It's got some little lumpy colored stuff in it?
it's got just about everything what's left over from last night.
Leftovers from last night, okay.
Taco shells.
Taco shells?
I'm not really sure what else.
I can't wait.
I'm gonna get 3 smokies though here.
So, once upon a time, before all the Europeans came over here, the Native Americans were using mesquite for lots of reasons, for food, fuel, weapons, tools, fiber, and medicine. And how do we know that they've been using these? They've done analyses of corpses that show that mesquite was heavily in their diet. And some of the North Americans still use the technique today. Who were these Native Americans? The series, I can't really pronounce all these, but Quechan, Quechan. I don't want to butcher this. And then the other one is Caachylla. Anyone know how to pronounce it? How important were these? How do you know that they were important? Even to this day, they describe the 8 stages of the pods themselves. So, I mean, just for us, it would just be like, okay, they're not there, they're there. They have them in the 8 stages, what they could do. In some of the earliest stages, they would just use them to put into stew as a little flavoring. And then it goes on from there. But when they're dry and they've fallen,
We just got here, started our talking, and guess who showed up? The local road runner. Birds have a way of upstaging presentations, especially of road runner. And I put on my wide-angle lens, and now I can't get close to him. Can you hear him?
Oh, Costas Hummingbird.
Straight up. Straight up.
Yep.
This is as good as we've ever gotten on a road runner, no question about that.
He doesn't like it. It's almost like he doesn't like his roadrunner here, too. That's a mating.
Yeah, that's his mating dam.
We're still being There, that's the Roadrunner.
What's making that noise? Is that the road?
That's the Roadrunner.
Or the...
We're still being entertained by Costa's hummingbird who's attacking the Roadrunner. He's still up in the tree. Our group's first introduction to birding. Birding besides or without a television set.
I think we've just created 28 new birders.
And so with the powder, it was pretty much Samantha Park and things like that. So they would take it to salt water and made dope. They go out of it, and then they take it out in the sun. So then they would have some bread. Let's see. And the flowers can also be eaten. And then just one little thing was that they noticed that the mesquite was tastier and sweeter in the desert, so it was all along the this area here, and it also extended a little bit more west. But if it was in higher elevations, it wasn't sweet; it was a little bit more bitter, so it was a little bit more useful down here. Describe the game. I didn't really get it, but I'm game. And use the leaves for dolls, just like what you would see with like corn husks and stuff. With corn. Okay, you guys, stop watching the birds. This is really killing me. And they would also use it for shade and shelter, and they'd use the pitch and the gum to decorate pottery.
Just going to do a little bit talk about three main species of mesquite. Can anybody tell me which one this is? Yeah, it's Prosopis glandulosa. It's common to the Mojave and the Colorado River area. It grows dense thickets near desert washes and at the base of the sand dunes. The pods, I don't think they're ready yet because compared to the pictures in the book I have, they're long, dense, long flattened pods with elongate clusters of tiny white flowers. The seeds are edible. Some basic facts about mesquite is that they're a tree or shrub with axillary spines or spinous stipules. It has a bipinnate leaf structure, usually small entire leaflets. It has greenish flowers in cylindric or globulose axillary pedunculate. Most pods are linear, and they have numerous seeds.
It was originally planted as an ornamental and as a windbreak. Tamarack slowly escaped cultivation between 1920 and 1930. It largely replaced the natural vegetation in floodplains of the middle and lower rivers of southern Rocky Mountains. There were several other rivers that it colonized: the Colorado, the Gilead, the Salt in Arizona, Central Rio Grande, Texas, New Mexico, the Canadian River in Texas, and Oklahoma, the Arkansas River in Colorado. The salt cedar or tamarisk is now established in 15 out of 17 western states. It's found in the subtropic and temperate zones of Africa, Europe, and Asia. It's also found in maritime locales like Norway. There were several things that caused the spread of tamarisk. The construction of reservoirs provided vast muddy delta areas, ideal seedbeds for the tamarisk.
In the upper Gila River Valley in Arizona, the salt cedar may have been known before 1920, and longtime residents of the Safford Valley, which is close to the Gila River, date the appearance of salt cedar from the floods of 1916. The floods caused channel shifts of as much as 3/4 of a mile and denuded large areas of native vegetation. Shortly after, the salt cedar was seen growing in the area that had been flooded 1929, the lake back of the dam had been filled with sediment and a very heavy growth of vegetation had taken place, and most of this was saltpeter. Water loss from the Gila River was so great that in 1929, the Gillespie Land and Irrigation Company began the construction of a drainage ditch on the west side of the river to move water from the end of the canal to the face of the dam. And then in 1931, this drain was extended. They think that this effort was perhaps the first known in Arizona to salvage water normally lost by saltpeter through evaporation and transport.
Salt or something?
Do you know what this red stuff is?
Hold on a second. Well, I'm huffing and puffing. Snively's out of shape.
My fault, we have to request.
Okay, we're driving through 20 Mule Team Canyon. And this is a little photo op place. And yeah, I'm not the only one huffing and puffing. Give an idea of what we're looking at here. The foreground, light-colored Furnace Creek Formation. A lot of colors, what's referred to as the Artist's Drive Formation. Apologize for the huffing and puffing. See if I can turn around without falling over here.
Well, you like logs and stuff? Do they have that?
No, different one.
So, one of their first really good views of Death Valley. Of course, this is still day one. And I think I'll just kind of swing around, look to the north now. There's a look to the north, right where Bill is standing. So this is the Funeral Mountains I'm looking at right now, with early Paleozoic, mostly Cambrian, Ordovician, Silurian seafloor sediments making up the mountains up there. Same place, same view. And we're just panning down to see where some of the people are located. I can't see them, but I know they're on that little ridge right there. There we go. They might not believe this, but I'm sure the view from there is probably not different from the view from here.
No, I asked everybody else to think that. I don't think so. I don't even have a good guess. Sometimes you can't.
Man, listen to them chatter. Sounds like a bunch of geese in the morning.
To illustrate a little bit of what's happened here, think about, if you've ever been to the Grand Canyon, or if you haven't, think about a picture that you might...
Mos Eisley Spaceport. You will never find the more wretched hive of scum and villainy. We must be cautious.
Go there. It's the same rocks to begin with that we see here. Precambrian and Paleozoic seafloor sediment, right? In the Grand Canyon, it's a nice layer cake arrangement. One layer
Dante's
stacked
view.
nice and evenly on top of
Very,
the other,
very hazy
right?
day.
From the Capite sandstone at the bottom, on top of some older metamorphic rock, all the way up, which is Precambrian sandstone, all the way up to the top of limestone, which is Kaibab limestone in the Permian. And it's all nice, neat layers. But here, you've been here only a few hours, but you've already learned enough to see that even though they're the same rocks, they're not nice, nice and neat layers anymore. So what's happened? Well, several different things have happened. During the Mesozoic, which was when? 220 to 65 million years ago, right? The main style of faulting in this part of the world, in western North America, was thrust faulting. The two plates, the North American and the Pacific plate, were butting up against each other head on. One plate was meeting the other one head on. And that kind of compression creates thrust faulting, okay? And so there was a lot of thrust.
I also see it as Laria divaricata or Laria glutinosa. It's usually just it belongs to, the Laria genus has 5 species. 4 of them are found in South America, and this one is the only one found here in North America. It's related to the shrubs that dominate the Mani Desert of Argentina in South America. The method of its origin into the U.S. is currently unresolved in all the ways around the sun. We don't really know how it got here, but I can talk about one theory that I know about. This theory says that the seed was deposited here via long-distance transport from a bird called the golden plover. They theorized the bird's migratory patterns and habits and that of the Laria seed. And this was a long time ago. I'm just learning geology time, and I don't really... It was when all of this was happening here in this area, in the Pleistocene time. Yeah. That's one theory, via that bird or somehow through the pluvial lake, somehow all that happened. Somehow it got dispersed through the water.
From generation to generation, they can change their amount of genetic component, and I don't think they fully understand when or why it will happen. I mean, I guess it's selected for because it is somewhat of an advantage, but what happens is during meiosis, as far as polyploidy, during meiosis, when you're creating the egg or the pollen, which is usually haploid, the chromosomes won't get pulled apart, and so they'll stay together, and so you'll just add on. So when the sexual reproduction happens, you just add on more genetic material rather than splitting it in half and adding it back together again. And so often
Continuing species is the benefit.
Yeah.
So they're prolonging life.
And it doesn't happen in mammals? Is that right? Doesn't happen at all?
An interesting note about that I found was that the 4 species that are in South America are consistently diploid, and only the Laria fragmentata is one that is polyploid. Also of interest, I wanted to say, referring to genetics, is that 2 of the South American Laria species have multifoliate innately compound leaves. And these are ancestral.
Oh, I wish I had my wide angle on here. This is Zabriskie Point. This is our crew. All 27 or 28 of them. What I didn't tell them is this is rougher country than I led them to believe. There's really lots of bandits and banditos around here. And actually we probably even went far south into Mexico. You never know. Anyway, we're in the land of cowboys and Indians and banditos. And I told them that you never know what to expect coming up from this draw down here, because every year there's some pretty ornery looking characters and strange events take place in this little area. So we'll see what happens here. Who am I videoing here? Okay, here comes Lloyd, Jennifer, a few people bringing up the rear. Okay, somebody's slow. Okay. Well, it looks to me like they're getting themselves into trouble down there. They're getting into a bad country. You never know what's going to happen.
course you're right. The bastard's coming up.
Now hold it. We ain't gonna do no good from here.
Be stomping all over since I don't know.
Well, we still got the horse.
Well, what good's that?
Remember a little stick place just outside of San Felipe? Corral? Yeah. Remember that was when you was drunk and killed that lady's ghost? Remember? Listen, I ain't wrong. I think you have to be 4 or 5 miles out down that canyon line.
Kind of cruising along. Our little death march. Just kind of looking to the west. 3:59, almost 4 o'clock. We'll get out of here about 5:30 or 6. This is Zabriskie Point, upper portion of Golden Canyon that we'll be hiking down through. With the Panamint Mountains in the background. We found a little cave in there, not a cave, but a old mine shaft. Perfectly safe. Goes back there about 30 feet. And there they are, down in a hole there somewhere. Who knows when they're coming out? Oh, there comes something. Comes the crew. Under Manly Peak here. Pretty high little monolith of the Furnace Creek Formation. Beautiful country here. I don't know how the colors are showing up on this, but this is the crew coming down. All 28, 29, 30 of them. How many there are, I'm not sure right now. We've got Mary Dykes, Jim Jackson, the Hayes from Portland, Lloyd Green, who brought a lot of our stuff down here. And so we just have a lot of folks. Here they come. Still coming. It's a never-ending procession here. And they're still hiking, and they're going to be going down through Golden Canyon here and eventually come out in the bottom of Death Valley. Pan around real slow. Hi, Allison. Hello, Bill. The sand person behind me. Okay. Oh my gosh, there's a
Senior citizen contingent.
verminous-looking critter there. And here comes Jennifer and Adam and Nicole. Well, this is Golden Canyon, the lower end of Zabriskie hike, and told some pretty strange in this area. You never know, you know. Here comes the crew walking into a trap, and they don't even know it. They're not, they're streetwise, but they're not desert-wise.
We're your students.
They're my students. You never know what's lurking down this canyon, gang. Be careful. Watch for dark crevices. Watch for strange-looking little eyes looking at you. Mary, be careful down here. Okay. spectacular floral year.
And while that felt spring, some of the people got out and took the woods, got out, wandered around, and found some rocks that had some gold deposits. Thought, well, they thought they would grab those up, keep along, and when they got to some of the rock samples, there was a very, very rich gold vein. He recovered about $60,000 in a single week. Back then, it was quite a bit of money. Still isn't bad now. The mine was still producing gold well into the 1960s because they discovered another rich vein. And I think it was the 1960s, it closed down a little after the 1960s after that vein.
Mule teams to haul, you know, they had all this borates in Death Valley, but they didn't get in and out of Death Valley. The nearest train depot in the 1800s was in Mojave, which is 165 miles away. So getting large amounts of borate, although there was a plentiful amount of borate in this valley, getting it out of here profitably was very difficult because the heat and the distances that were involved to do that. So there had been mining of borate in Death Valley as early as the 1870s, but none of it was really that profitable. The first real profitable one was down. We're not going to go to it this year. We went to it last year. Was at Eagle Borax Works, and they were using 8 and 12 team wagons to pull all the borax out. But it was a small operation. A guy by the name of Aaron Winters, who you might have seen something about him in the visitor center, he discovered and laid a claim to.
Okay, we're heading for Titus Canyon this morning, but as you can see, we've got a few talks going on, and of course this is one of the famous 20 mule team rigs that Aaron's given a presentation on, the early mining of borax here in Death Valley. This is the old mining operation up here, where they sort of smeltered out the borax. So let's go over and see what Aaron's got to say.
By late 1882, he wasn't cheap enough. They were producing so much borax that it couldn't get out of the valley quick enough. So Coleman hired a guy by the name of J.W.S. Perry, and he hired a guy. He wanted this guy to build a wagon that could haul half a freight car worth of borax at a time. A freight car worth is essentially 20 tons or 40,000 pounds of borax. So that was the goal. He gave this guy the goal that he needs to make a wagon.
Windows, wood floors, wood ceilings, and plastered walls. Is this a real comfortable home? About 20 degrees cooler in there in the summertime than it is outside. Most of the bottles are beer bottles, but then there's a lot of sarsaparilla, Worcester sauce, Snyder's Preserve, Hiawatha Springs mineral water, Hofstadter's stomach bitters, Johnson's blood purifier, and liver persuader. Now that stuff wouldn't cure you, but you didn't care. Good stuff. You really didn't want to get well, and I'll have to take it. The sidewalk was built about 40 years after the house was built, and this was planted in sycamore on the side of the bottle. Worse than that, though, the bottle ends right there. They don't have a mold, but they work both ways at the same time. So after the bottles came out of the mold, they ended there, then they molded these tops separately and added them to the bottle. So anytime you see a bottle with a mark up this way, it'll go up to there, and then this piece will go around it the other way. Now, I thought I did a good job of explaining that to the group the other day. And then a woman asked me, well, why didn't they just make the bottle shorter? You see, there was 8,000 people in town at that time. Gold was discovered by Shorty Harris 2.5 miles over this direction in 1904. Shorty wasn't a quiet sort by the time he got out of the bars in. Goldfield,
This is the famous
about 3,000 people followed him home.
bottle house of Rhyolite.
Built up a town springing up all over. Of course, the only thing you needed for a town at that time was somebody you discovered a little gold, then you went in and got this mine incorporated for 1 million shares at $1 a share. Then somebody come along with a can of cake of whiskey and sat on the corner and had a saloon. Got a city. And we had cities all over this. They had water and electricity available within 6 months. By 1906, we got 3,000 people up here. They brought a power line in from Bishop over the top of the hill, put street lights on the streets. Then they brought a water system around the hills from above Beatty to the gravity system. Fire hydrants on Main Street. According to the newspaper, they had a swimming pool down here on Amargosa Street that held 1,500 gallon of water. And they claimed that they changed the water in it every day. But that's not the amazing. This was such a liberal town, according to that newspaper, that they let the women swim in the swimming pool on Sunday mornings and Wednesday afternoons. Now, with them kind of ideas, the town was doomed. You can see that. Well, heck, first thing you know, they're going to float. Well, you can see what's happened. I mean, 3 years put together with nothing but mud. Now, as you come by here, the amount of dirt that has flowed out of this wall. So it really hasn't done all that bad. Of course, I got my own theory on this wall, and that is, if you look, Kelly didn't wash the bottles. So there's a little bit of beer in each one of them bottles. Now I think that gives that wall a lot of strength, character, and I should ought to get a government grant to make a study of that. As you go by here, if you get a chance to look into this bottle here, you'll see some 92-year-old crickets about to entertain his great-grandkids. Now the only reason that that wooden building is there is because it wasn't there. It was built uptown someplace in 1906. But then it was moved to the town of Pioneer in 1916. Then it was moved from Pioneer to Beatty in 1920s. It was a hospital in Beatty for a good many years. And then Evan Thompson, who grew up in this building here, brought it up here and made a home out of it. And he lived in it until 1969. Then he moved to Pioneer. He's starting to follow the house around. It's probably one of the first mobile homes.
Most of the Indians that lived here lived here during the Golden Epoch, 10,000 years ago. It's a possibility that some might have lived here in the high season, but it's only been able to be the population was never very large, however, for obvious reasons. The population was never large, but there was about 400 groups in there.
and they were about 10 feet in diameter. And this is where most of the tools were concentrated.
Like in the late stage, before they had left for the Amargosa one, and in the early stage they were the Pinto Basin. The Death Valley Sioux Indians also live around Furnace Creek, like with the Death Valley one again. They lived in sites that was soft, silty ground, and they liked the warm, moist environment. They also did hunting, but they shifted more to some collecting, like seed collecting and things like that. They did have some show of stone mortars and tools for grinding stuff. They also used hot rattle and cutters. But like the Death Valley one, instead of using scissors, they had used more than knives. They did different knives. And also the knives they used on shirts and like shirts or blankets. The Death Valley Indians for their
Well, this is one of our first activities. It's March 23rd, 7:48. Oh, it's getting late. We're going down here to give a little talk on desert plant adaptations. But here we are in Death Valley. You can kind of see I hope, the color of the flowers are in bloom in Death Valley. It's the first good clear morning we've had. You can see Telescope Peak, 11,000 feet above sea level, the Panamint Mountains, and there's my little group going down to get a little lecture on plant ecology. I guess I better get down there.
The main limiting factor in there is by definition is water. So you have to create all these mechanisms to conserve water. But what's the problem with photosynthesis in an arid region? John talked about it. You're losing water to transpiration. Now, if you're a phreatophyte, you don't care. Phreatos means well. So plants dig a well. They've got their roots down into the water table. And so tamarisk can transpire 200 gallons of water a day. It doesn't care. But if you're a xerophyte, then you do start caring. And so there are a couple of tricky photosynthetic adaptations that many plants in arid regions have developed. It gets kind of detailed, but if the stomates are open, so that gas, including the carbon dioxide the plant needs for photosynthesis, can diffuse into the plant, isn't it also true that the gases that are already in the plant can diffuse out, including what? Water vapor. So, you have
All these people in the house.
Think he's upset? We got a little sidewinder here, making his little buzzy noise, kind of hiding down here in a desert holly bush. I hope this is in focus. I'm not sure what you can see here, but I think you can see the horns on him.
look at his big long stick.
Wow, really? Ever?
There's our little sidewinder in here, in this bush.
Get a pretty good shot from here, Joe.
Okay. Why don't you go in there and hold, kind of hold him for me, or...
I will. I'm going to take a big woodpeckers after him.
The giant woodpeckers after him. Bill, you want to do that again? I didn't get a picture of you getting a picture. A picture getting a picture. There we go. Tiffany, what are you looking at?
I'm looking at malachite.
Malachite. All right. And who found it?
Kate found it.
Oh, was it Mark? So go back to base one here. Let's see. Next question. Why did we come up here? Panamint daisies. Point to the nearest Panamint daisy. Right
6.5 inches.
there. And somebody measured it?
Yep.
The flowers are how big? 6.5 inches on the Panamint daisy, which is endemic to this area. Means it only grows in Death Valley, Panamint Valley region. And after 20-some years of coming here, for me, this is the first time I've ever seen a Panamint daisy. We owe that to Hal Bender and Linda, who found it years ago and have been trying to tell me where to find this thing. Gave us the exact mileage this morning. So there, at 6 inches across, 6.5 inches, is the Panamint daisy. There's some botany people up there don't know they're being filmed. Nicole, who doesn't know she's being filmed. I think she knew she was being filmed. And one more look at this Panamint daisy. Once again, 6.5 inches across the flower. What do you think, Lori? That's all you got to say? Well, you usually have something to say, whether it's significant or not, but we'll just leave it at that. One's a tourist, and who have we got? We've got Lloyd, Ann, and our local dermatologist, Tom, who's sort of visiting this year with Alan, and Tom's been on a trip before to Death Valley as a student. And he's wearing a t-shirt that says, "No flies on me, mate." And when he turns around, what's always following in behind, ugly looking mess. Okay.
species of pinyon. Single-leaf pinyon is found in the Great Basin and Mojave Desert. Single-leaf pinyon has 5 needles. Pinyons are slow-growing and short-trunked, and they use water for spraying them. Pinyons have adapted to desert and cold mountain environments. Rising temperatures stimulate their growth.
These are the charcoal kilns we were just in, singing.
The tree will be dormant before winter hits. The pinyons cover over 200,000 square miles.
10 charcoal kilns producing 42 cords of charcoal a piece per week.
Pinyons play an important role in watershed areas. They are able to grow where other trees can't to prevent erosion and hold water better in the watershed. Thus, clay is found under pinions or under pines in any drought-dominated areas. This is an apparent result of Chilean material accumulated beneath the canopy.
Falling off.
males breed inside the pinion and eventually kill it. Once killed, other insects thrive off it. The pinion jay can tell a good seed from a bad one, and they store it in their throats. They take it off the tree. In the 1850s, farmers farmed the trees for nuts to feed to their pigs to make them fat. The pinion gum in the form of powder was used for the treatment of bullet wounds, tuberculosis, and syphilis. In its solid form, the gum was used for waterproofing baskets. Resin from the gum prevented warping.
Okay, well, Jenny's giving her talk and Bobby's giving a talk on pinion pine right now. This is the wild rose kilns that were used back in 1860, 76 to 79 for making charcoal. And let's see. It's a beautiful view from here. Normally you can see the Sierras. In fact, just looking right through there, normally you can see Mount Whitney sitting on the top of the Sierras. You can't see that today. And I've been kind of looking around here for some dwarf mistletoe, but looks like they're not going to get a dwarf mistletoe talk this year. So there they are, down there listening to Jenny and Bobby talking about pinion pine.
Well, first of all, I'd kind of like to point out that the name that a lot of you are familiar with, the scientific name for bristlecone pine, is incorrect. The real name for the Great Basin bristlecone pine is Pinus longaedea, which I will spell for you. Longaedea. And I believe on the sheet that we signed up, the scientific name down there said Pinus aristata or something, which is Rocky Mountain bristlecone pine. They are been identified as two different species. First of all, the bristlecone pine is, most of you know that it's the world's oldest living organism that is not cloned. Several trees have been identified over 4,000 years old, but however, unfortunately, to find out how old these trees were, they had to cut them down because they couldn't do an accurate dendrology core sample from it, because the way the bristlecone grows, you get one large growth, and that part dies off slowly, and then you get a growth kind of blobbed onto that part, and then another growth that blobs onto that part. So you kind of looks like a whole bunch of shoots going together, but it's all considered one tree. You see the gnarled forward, and pieces of bark have been missing, and the exposed inner bark is visible. A lot of parts of the tree are dead. You might find like one snag of growth left on it, and you think, wow, that tree's still, no, it's still going. It's just slowed down and it's moving downhill towards its death. These trees normally grow on limestone, or in the White Mountains they grow on the white dolomite.
It's a place called Darwin Falls, and it's 3:03. Hope things are in focus, because what I'm looking through in the viewfinder is in focus. There's a little waterfalls on a creek that's now in Death Valley National Park, little riparian area, and everybody's disappeared from me, so let's go up and see what the waterfalls look like. We finally made it.
It's a little dark in here.
It's a little dark in here, yeah. There's this famous little falls called Darwin Falls. Which isn't much to someone from Oregon, I guess, but here in the desert, it's a pretty rare thing. It runs all year. I hear people crashing in the brush behind me. Okay, Jennifer, now do you want to explain the secret to your ability to dust the road unlike any other car?
Nevada touch.
Is it, huh? No. Well, I'm sorry. I have to play the part of the bad guy periodically. So, Darwin Falls. Now inside Death Valley National Park. Just incorporated 2 years ago. Okay, who wants to tell us what we've got here? Well, we don't know his name.
Yeah, we've got a toad here at Darwin Falls.
A little toad, Darwin Falls toad.
He's at a little after 3:15.
And right now we don't know what he is, but we're going to find out later on.
He's a Bufo bad.
And so far, Kate's the only one that's been willing to pick him up.
I want to hold him, actually. Hold him with your hand around him.
If you pick him up, make sure your hands are wet.
He's like making all kinds. We got a picture.
This is a photo.
Tiffany, hi. Lloyd wants a picture here.
Sorry about this camera. It takes a while to focus.
I don't want him to hop out.
That's all I need. Smile.
He's so cute. Two more. I think he uses water.
Well, here we are, and our intrepid crew's coming back. One at a time, two at a time, three at a time. We'll zero in on Jenny's, okay.
Oh my God!
It's a good thing to put something underneath your tail before you do. Like a life jacket.
Here they come. Tiffany has a little trouble right here, going and coming. They made it.
Coming your way, Bobby.
How big is it?
Got a visual. I'm betting on the lizard myself. The desert iguana. This is a lizard hunt. They're after a desert iguana. Yeah, he lost it. Aaron was successful. So we have a desert iguana here. Eventually we're going to have a talk on this guy. Dipsosaurus dorsalis is his proper name. Well, this is Tuesday morning, and now we're on the Devil's Golf Course. Where it's very often windy. Wind after these sculptures of salt. And a real sharp little rivulet kind of move north and south, or trend north and south through this basin. Let's see. There's Slade looking for a salt flower. Huh? Well, who's that? Oh, that's Ryan. I'm sorry. Ryan was looking for a salt flower. Got 'em. They didn't know it. They're looking at water. Water table's just under this. I guess some people are just having a hard time standing up. But anyway, we'll take a quick look at what this looks like up close. My lens cap flapping in front there. There you can see how sharp this stuff is. And this kind of convoluted sharp edges from the wind that moves back and forth through here. Zero up on some of this. I hope that's in focus. So this is the famous Devil's Golf Course. Many, many, many square miles. I can't recall how many. I think I just goofed. So I'm going to record this backwards. The 20 mule teams used to go on this on the way to Mojave. And people are out here looking for, well, they're looking for anything. Found the water tables just underneath the surface. I'm kind of fascinated with sculpturing of this salt. As the wind moves north and south, it kind of convolutes it a bit. What do you think, Tiffany? Very neat. Nothing like this in Oregon, huh? That's for darn sure. Yeah. It actually, yes, it's wicked up in the groundwater, and then the water evaporates and leaves these little strands like that. Yeah, so. Well, it just redissolves and reforms all the time. An idea how this stuff is very, very, very sharp. This extends for many, many miles across Devil's Golf Course. I think I've read it something like 20 square miles out here, something like that, of this kind of stuff. Yeah. 2:50. Oh my gosh, the time is flying. We're at Ash Meadows, looking at. Actually, we just saw the Devil's Hole, where the Devil's Hole pupfish are, and now we're at Salt Springs. Is that right? No, Crystal Springs. Looking at two little Crystal Springs pupfish in here. Can't see them in here, but there's pupfish down in here. A little breezy today, that's our major problem. Oops, somebody's got a bunny rabbit. Singing for the camera. Is that our theme song? Tridostomia? source of Crystal Spring. I think we can see why it's called Crystal Spring.
Oh, I see. It is a huge big spring.
Deep, deep, deep. Beautiful blue pool. Oops, got our shadows in here. I thought I was getting away from people, and what do I get? All our shadows. Ash Meadows. Yep, they're looking at pupfish down here. I don't think I get any in the viewfinder because I can't see them at all. But they're saying they're down there, so we'll take their word for it.
And a lot of it came to head in the mid-late 60s. What you're looking at here was all under agricultural products. They planted a lot of cotton and wheat and
Alfalfa.
And they had known that there were springs in the area and that each of the springs had these little fish, but they didn't know anything about the fish. Well, the Nature Conservancy came in and started monitoring a few of the springs, and what they found was there was what we call an endemic. An endemic is a species that lives in this location and nowhere else. And so they found in a lot of these springs there were endemics. So that made them watch the agricultural industry a little bit. And as what they found out is as the agricultural industry moved in and started to develop this area, the water table was dropping, and dropping dramatically, feet by feet. So what happened is about in 1980, June of 84, they took it, and you guys will talk a little bit about, but basically this became a wildlife refuge to help protect a lot of the springs and the fish and the animals that live around it. So a little over 22,000 acres. It has over 50 freshwater springs in it, and all those springs are fed from what they call a fossil source, which is water that's been percolating down thousands of years ago into the attic. This particular spring was drained to the point of where it was bone dry. The fish were only up into the little stream beds. So pretty lucky that we got anything here to look at. This area is really of significance because it has the highest percentage of endemics anywhere in the U.S. It's got 24 species of endemics, 5 of which are listed on the endangered species. That's higher than anywhere in the U.S. And they rank second in North America. So for a 22,000-acre refuge, it has more endemics, more species that are found here than precise locations than anywhere else in the United States.
Perch-eyed fish that live in desert pools and streams. There are 4 main species, well 5, aren't there? I saw 5 and I saw 4. 4 main species, is that right? Yeah, and there's 6 subspecies. I'm going to give you the name of the 4 main species.
little pole cutfish, I just wanted to say, because they're yellow, you know, the shallow lime shelf there, they have a really small area, you know, to even breed in. So that's why we don't have them. And also, their food source is also in that little shelf. That's where they live, this cutfish. And so that's why there aren't very many of them. Okay. Then the growth rate of these, if there's overcrowding, like especially there is in the double hole, then that will increase their activity, which will decrease their food intake and also decrease their growth rate. So, but they're increasing growth rate at about 30 degrees Celsius, and it will decrease at 22 to 26 degrees Celsius.
Okay, we're just walking back, and this little jackrabbit was here when we came, and he's still waiting for us. So we thought we'd better get a video of him. Little California jackrabbit. Bill?
Yeah.
Why don't you go over by your tent and show everybody you're proud to... Let's see. Oops. Excuse me here. Pushed the wrong button. Hold on.
It's a good thing we guide this thing down. I've been a witness.
Say again? Okay, it's 5:41, and it's March 24th, and we suspect a little dust storm came through here, or windstorm came through here this afternoon. We got a little major damage on the gables of Bill's tent. And let's see what else has happened around here. This isn't a yearly event, but there's the Snively tent. That's secured the way tents are supposed to be. It's still standing. There's Eric's tent flopping in the breeze back there. Let's see. Let's see what else we've got. Back in the background, we've got a few casualties back there. Looks like one laying on the ground. A few just kind of flopping around a little bit over here. We've got somewhere another casualty. One trying to take off. One upside down. Must have lost its pegs for certain. So, good thing to leave a lot of gear inside so that they kind of stay in the same neighborhood anyway. Yep. This is your tent, Eric. We'll be working on it for you. Let's see what else.
God, you know, some of the big ones survived at this time.
It's unbelievable. Some of the big tents kind of survived pretty well.
Somebody needs to learn to close their door, though.
Yeah, well, we tell them.
You want to see some
Let's
tent
see.
devastation?
Why? Where? Huh? Looks like it's alive. Well, this is a new day. March 25th, and this, I believe, is Wednesday. And we're looking at Ubehebe Crater, down into Ubehebe Crater, which is about a mile across. And it's a fairly, Ubehebe Shoshone for a big basket. Need to give a little talk right here, but it's a little on the breezy side, but it usually is. See what the folks are doing here. Sort of constrict, and there's always a real strong south wind howling through here.
posse out looking for them. I think I see the posse right now coming right over that ridge. Yeah, by golly, it is.
Mire, mi capitán.
White, you are under arrest.
We're on our way up to Racetrack Playa and trying to give a few presentations, but it's real cold and real windy. It's really kind of a tough deal to cope with on a day like this. People are frozen to death, and yet they have to kind of sit there and listen to the talk in the snow. And it's not easy keeping them interested in a situation like this. So we may forego a talk or two and end up heading for lower country in hopes that it'll be warmer, less windy. We're up in the Joshua country, and Tom and Slater are giving a talk on cryptobiotic soils right now.
They help hold the soil against water erosion, wind erosion, things like that. Tend to keep it in place. You see a lot of areas with rocks. When rain comes, cryptobiotic soils can expand up to 8 times their volume. That really helps hold water. Even this fog and whatnot, they can also absorb that mist. You name it, they grab it and they hang on to it, and that really helps the plant community. Also, beneath a lot of them, they tend to have filaments, like long pieces of thin string that go throughout the soil and they bind it. That's another way of holding it together. And even when they're dry, these filaments still kind of bind and hold the soil together. They are even like death. They play an important role. Their decomposition in the soil adds a lot of organic matter, helps other plant communities thrive, live in the area. Where you have a higher density of cryptobiotic soils, you find that the plants are going to be closer together and you're going to have a higher diversity. Where cryptobiotic soils are spaced out, you're going to find less plants and less diversity. And the bacteria fixation, or the nitrogen fixation, excuse me, was cut back to 88%, and after 9 months it was down to 0. So they basically just died. Their photosynthesis that they do when some of them are green, that dramatically drops.
and it seems to not recover quickly or at all. That's still kind of being debated and tested. Herbicide use in agriculture, a lot of farmers.
This is racetrack playa where the rocks kind of slide around. I was trying to catch up with the group, but they didn't care about waiting for the photographer, so they ran out ahead of me. So I'll just turn around and get a picture of a few people behind. Looks like a lot of the tracks are kind of washed out this year, but this is the size of the rocks that move around on racetrack playa. See if Eric's got anything to say here. What do you think, Eric? Huh? He sneaks up here and moves them around a little bit. I don't know if you can see this or not. There's a couple of the big starter rocks right here. You can kind of see their trails. At least I can see it. There's a couple of big ones and a couple that they kind of went out and then they came back again. You can see where they came in here, up against the hillside.
Too technical.
Too technical. Well, there's some of our people out there. Not sure who it is. Eric's come up with new theories on how these rocks move. We told him he shouldn't propose those kinds of theories with the kinds of hat that he's wearing. Got a little guru sitting out there. Either Jennifer fell down or she's doing some photography. She's on a skid trail. What do you think, Ryan? Packing heat. We're just sort of, I think they're just kind of talking things over. New theories. Eric, what's your theory?
I've been disgraced. I thought Bernoulli's principle entered into it somehow.
Yeah.
I've been, didn't defunct
It's waning away already, huh?
Even before I could get to a typewriter to get it published.
Okay.
I've always thought that we're attacking the rocks, but there's no longer attacking the rocks.
Help me.
How does it feel?
jam, I guess, but I used a little too much force. And we drove that car just as far as we could, banded it out west. We split up on a dark, sad night, both Death Valley, to sing some Death Valley blues. I'm going down to Death Valley to sing some Death Valley blues. You only need 2 words to rhyme. When you're down in Death Valley, if you snooze, be here now. Anybody got one? Is that the one you were going to sing? We made that up together. Eric and I made that up together, and I totally stole it. Come on, Gibson, you got one.
Oh, God.
Allison, go.
When you're down in Death Valley, the rain comes pouring down.
Yeah!
Oh, when you're down in Death Valley, the rain comes pouring around.
Yeah.
Go, brother.
When you're down in Death Valley, the rain down to the ground.
It rains.
Everybody! Down in Death Valley, Death Valley blues.
I'm going down.
Well, it's almost 6 o'clock. March 26th, Thursday. Supposedly our last day in Death Valley, but as you can see, it's been raining all night. It's kind of a sea of mud out there. People are pretty wet. We really haven't figured out what we're going to do yet. If you walk out there to the tents, you sink up to your ankles in pure mud. A lot of people are wet. You can tell, kind of standing around trying to figure out what to do. So our job is to figure out, of course, what are we going to do today? We're going to boogie out of here, or we're trying to keep people warm. And of course, the longer you're out here, the wetter they get and the muddier they get. And just kind of a grim scene right now. It's supposed to clear off that last night and be semi-cloudy today, but that doesn't seem to be the case. I guess this will give you an idea what it's like right in our campground. There's Slade. Got a mud flow right in our own campground here, I guess. There's Tom. Oh, you cleaned your feet up. That's good. I wouldn't want dirty feet in the video. So here we are. There's the trailer. Got a mud flow going right through the trailer. There's Allison in her brand new Death Valley rain gear. Let's see. Well, that's better than nothing, but we've had to resort to a few garbage sacks for some of our people. Helps a little bit. Let's see what else we got here. Yep, Death Valley, 1.5 inches of rain a year. It all came down last night, still coming down. There's the dinner or breakfast crew over there. I'm not sure why we're doing breakfast. Personally, I'm good for a hot cup of coffee and then ready to go. But we're doing breakfast. We're a little concerned because right here, there's water, you know, pouring right through these little ravines coming right down into our campground. And our campground probably isn't going to look a whole lot better. That is at the ravine where our tents are pitched. Take a quick look at that for a second here. That's our tents. and they happen to be pitched right in the bottom of a ravine just like this one, so could have mud slop just pouring through there any minute now. So it's kind of bleak right now.
Bleak?
Bleak is the word.
Death Valley
Slade,
experience.
Slade, you're too much of an optimist.
You what are you gonna do? Cry? You know?
Actually, the group just been a terrific bunch of people. They're just taking it in their stride a whole lot better than I thought they would. Of course, there isn't a whole lot we can do. We're gonna have to make a decision here soon on what to do, though. Let's see, we're kind of zeroing in on somebody's feet just to get an idea of what we're walking through here.
I've got some more boxes. One van is
What's that?
nothing better than Go ahead and use one and move it in there until I get all the seats done.
Well, what's Mr. Bill, the strategist, say?
I was thinking we should have a geological talk about mass wasting
Mass
in the desert
wasting,
right
yeah. It all ends up in the bottom of the deepest hole, and that's where we're at.
Our tents. What do you think about breakfast? Should we tell them to go into the vans?
Oh. We've got a couple people skating our way here. Identify yourselves for the camera. Huh? Looks like Jenny and Kate. Jenny and Kate. Well, let's take a look at what we're walking through here. There's a what? Is there water flowing through the creek there yet? Huh? Yeah? Get a look at your feet there. Oh yeah, typical looking footwear. Little Death Valley footwear. That looks good. But what's really good is the perpetual smile we get on people, especially Jenny. Let's see. Here comes Mark. So, what do you think? You like to be a miner? You got a stream under your tent? Is it fresh water, springs, or mud flow?
It's just like that stuff that's coming down over there.
Yeah?
It's coming right under my tent,
Well, let's see what we got up here. How grim does it look? Ah, I see. They're trying to move a tent. Yeah. Well, this is what happens in the Furnace Creek Formation when it gets wet. It's good to know your geology so you know what you're getting drowned in. They've got a mobile tent.
Hey, these must be the in shoes. Everybody's got them. We got the Indians, except Mr. Toman. Hey, it's okay, bud. I'm not as rich as you. Mark, when Smokey's gonna get him. Get ready. Adam, buddy, your kid's got water underneath it.
Erica, what do you think of your desert experience? All this heat and dry, dust, sand, everything we told you about. It's been pretty good.
I hope I get a tip for this.
Well, what we may try to do is go down for like an hour to the visitor area and make use of their dryers. Okay, Sarah, how's your feet look? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Who's those mud wrestlers that were, wanted to have a little mud experience and do some mud wrestling? It wasn't you. It was Callie and.
I think that would be fun.
Okay, yeah. Let's see. It's 7:14 in the morning, and we've decided to at least we're not going to abort Death Valley, but we're going to abort our campsite. So Eric's demonstrating how to walk in the mud. The young ladies over here are demonstrating how to move one of our little tents. We're basically migrating each of our tents out of here down to a kind of a gravelly area across the This is a good desert experience. When it's hot, and dry, it's dry, and when it's wet, it's wet. So I'm sure this is a video everybody will be able to look back on for lots and lots of years. There goes another mobile tent.
Here with the gravel there, you'll be a little better.
Mr. Wisely, don't film it.
This is not Mr. Misley, this is Snovelli.
Snovelli? Oh, God. Oh, up to my knees. But I'm still smiling. Mr. Simon, please.
Everybody's got, here comes Allison in the back. She's got her tent stakes. And her brand new rain jacket. Oops. We used to have, last time I did this, Allison, we had races. We had races, kind of mud races. Let's see. We got a brand new wash basin here right in the middle of camp. Didn't even know we had it the whole time. Works good. Let's see. This is, go back up there. All right. This is Miss Death Valley. Okay. Okay, let's see. The time is almost 11 o'clock. We've managed to survive this morning, and we're heading over to Mosaic Canyon. I'm on my 4th battery, so I hope this thing lasts. Just taking a quick pan here to show you the amount of water that we got last night. Already the water's down in the bottom of the Cotton Ball Basin area just above Furnace Creek. Panamint Mountain, or Telescope Peak in the background. And we got 0.6 of an inch of rain last night. And really did some damage to the campground and so on. But get a good idea what happened here last night. The area of the California coast is just getting hit really, really hard. And we'll just kind of zoom in, see see the water that's already accumulated down the bottom of the valley just overnight. So we took a major hit, but we survived, and we got a great troop of young folks here. It's 11 o'clock, and they've rebounded already, and we're going over to Mosaic Canyon and the sand dunes. This is our last day in Death Valley.
There's 2 varieties. One's Yucca brevifolia, and the other one's Yucca brevifolia jaegeriana. They belong to the agave family, and they also said they belong to the lily family. So either way, whatever. And most importantly, it's not a tree, it's a plant. It doesn't produce annual growth rings, and it has erratic branching. It's found in the Mojave Desert, or the jaegeriana is found in the eastern Mojave, and it's generally much smaller. What we've been seeing is the Yucca brevifolia. They're found in California, Arizona, Nevada, and Utah. They grow from 2,000 to 6,000 feet. They grow best at 3,000 and up. Some are found in the Sonoran Desert, growing next to saguaro cactus, but they're native to Mojave. They grow at about 3,000 feet best because during winter it's essential for them to have that dormant period there. It doesn't depend on the desert to live. It's just where they do live. A lot of the plants, it's essential for them to live in the desert. The largest tree, actually plant, is measured to be 32.3 feet high. It got its name from the Mormons. Brigham Young was wanted to concentrate the Mormons over here, and when they first saw them, there were tons of them. I think that they were passing through Joshua Tree National Monument, and they thought it looked like Joshua the prophet,
Cottonwood Mountain.
which is outstretched arms. first person that came through that's been recorded that was written down, his name was Captain John C. Fremont, and this is his quote. It says, "Their stiff and ungraceful forms, the most repulsive tree in the rest of the kingdom." But on the other hand, there's been a couple of Indian tribes that have some folklore about it. There's this one called Kawaiisu, it's Kawaiisu, and their story about the Joshua tree was that the Joshua tree was originally the enemy of the warriors and the soldiers that were going after the coyote. And then also, the Joshua tree has been so adored by some people that it's even made it into like the music pop culture, and the group U2 has an album named after him, and I found out that they actually have a picture where they're up at Zabriskie Point, and then they're also in a grove of Joshua trees. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and talk about the leaves and the branches and just the different parts, and then at the end if you have any questions, you can ask questions. And I brought a dry leaf if you want to check it out right here. So, first of all, the leaves. The Joshua tree is an evergreen. It's also a xerophyte. And the leaves are very special because they're made to be strong to protect the tree. Because in the area that the Joshua tree is in, it's one of the largest shrubs, and so it's the most dominant, and it's used by a lot of animals.
The guy covered his mud this morning. You should be able to read that. Great book. If you're interested in it, I'm going to donate it to John, but Desert Bighorns. Nice summary of all the research they've done on the various bighorns. What are they? They're bovis family. They're part of basically goats, sheep, cattle. They're part of that family. Desert mounts, so it gets up to pretty good size. And of course, the males have the characteristic curled horns. Quite massive curls in mature males. It goes back over the ears, down and around and up past the cheek, and it spreads about 33 inches across. So they're a little bit wider spread than the Rocky Mountain sheep. Females, of course, are smaller. They stand about 3 feet high. They're 4 to 5 feet in length, and weight is about 75 to 200 pounds. They're so much smaller. They have horns too, but they're short, and they never form more than a half a curl. Another characteristic, interestingly enough, the herds are led by dominant ewes rather than rams often. They're generally gregarious animals. They run in groups, can run in groups up to 100. Although, according to research, the DV Death Valley groups tend to be much smaller, often 20 to 30 individuals, sometimes even fewer. The species is polygamous. Areas with dry drainage ways, along with the broken uplands, that allows them, I guess, to get from watering holes to food and so on. Vegetation, ideally grass in the transition zone between desert shrubs and pinyon pine and juniper. Terrain, actually, as I said, ideally is rough without obstruction or rocky terrain with natural.
Most of the bighorns, and they're descendants of wild Africa. Which were brought over to the New World by the Spaniards in the 1830s. In the 1800s, they were used a lot as pack animals. They were actually like extremely pack animals. Everyone back then wanted to get into possibly miners using dancing in the desert. And the problem was that they started escaping, or they'd get set free, couldn't get their plane started, and they had nowhere else to go, so they'd let their animals loose. And that's when they started forming these fertile lands, and about 15 to 20 animals. They don't have any natural predators out here, so they really flourish. And before 1952, they were hunted by the 100 Burrow Club, but that was about their only predator. Not much else could touch them.
Very much because of vegetation or active dunes, they move a lot because of little vegetation. There are 4 types of dunes in the Southwest. 3 of them are active. The The three active types of sand dunes are the Barracan dune, and it's crescent shaped. So crescent like a C. Kind of a dot in the sand.
Yeah, you can make one.
It's hard to know. Shaped like that.
And which way is the wind coming from?
And the wind is coming from the back. Indications on this one indicate the direction that the wind is moving. And they have very rapid movement, up to 80 feet a year. Formed by the wind blowing. The next kind of dune is a transverse dune. And it's, you want to draw that one for them? Okay. It's nearly straight sand ridges formed at an angle to the prevailing wind, and they dominate the centers of dunes. So if you had a field of sand dunes, these transverse dunes would be the kind that would be in the middle. They're shaped kind of. It's called a transverse dune. And then there's a star dune, and it's created by winds blowing with equal strength in several different directions at different times of the year. So it looks kind of like a starfish.
Yeah? Is that what is there? Or?
And the fourth one is a parabolic dune. It's U or V shaped, and it may be active, but it's generally fixed, and the noses of it only creep forward. So what happens is it's similar to a crescent-shaped dune, only the wind is coming from the opposite direction. And it doesn't move very much. And there are three conditions that are necessary to create sand dune formations. You need a source of sand, a source of wind, and a place for the sand to collect.
I'm doing this with the animals that live in the sand dunes. Generally, there's two groups of animals that occupy the sand dunes. One are the transients, and they're the ones that come to the sand dunes and like eat and do whatever they do, but then they can leave. And the second group is called the sand obligates. And they're the ones that live and stay on the sand dunes. There's also like three general categories of animals that live on the sand dunes, or of both of those groups. One is that they eat the live plant matter that lives on them. The second one is that they eat the dead matter, and those are called the cytivores. And the third category is the predators. And I don't really know much about those ones from what I've read so far. So I read enough there. Or you can ask me. Okay.
Where here?
Okay.
Does it come from the?
Mountain range, right?
Does it come from the limestone? Calcium carbonate? Quartzite.
Quartzite.
Or is it quartzite or a rock that has quartz in it? Mm. Yep, both.
Valley. In here, it narrows down at this point. What happens when wind has to get down to a narrow point? Decreases the energy, so when it sneaks to that narrow region, what happens on the other side? It's going to drop the sand. And that's why the dunes are here. And you're not going to find them in a lot of the other locations. Does that make sense? They talked about there's all kinds of different shapes. The stars are in the center, and then you radiate out with transverse. And now on this periphery, you see the stabilized. Okay? Imagine that you're either an animal or a plant. It's going to be hard to live on this if this thing is blowing and on the move all the time, right? So what are some strategies if you're a plant? If you're going to make it, right, you going to have to be able to grow pretty quick before your substrate gets pulled out from underneath you. And that's true of a lot of the species that live on sand dunes. Now you can see some that were able to encroach down, like the creosote, and they talked about that. For whatever reason.
Well, it's release time. We just finished the last of our talks on sand dunes. They have a half an hour to be back to the vans, and that's certainly not enough time to get on that big dune back there, but somebody always seems to try it. Anyway, as soon as I say go, all I get's the rear ends of everyone. Oh, no, wait, no. Oh. I almost had a good pose there for a second, but I missed it. Let's see, 3:19, and we still need time to kind of let people get slickered up the showers and so on. So here we are. It's time to boogie out of here. It's tomorrow morning, so we'll be getting up real early. What the heck is that? That looks like a pile of tin coming up over. I'll be darned. That's a strange looking critter I see coming over that sand.
I'm not going that way. Malfunctioning little twerp. This is all his fault. He tricked me into going this way, but he'll do no better.
Just a little panorama while people are out playing on the dunes. It's starting to get a little late in the afternoon. We're still going up to the swimming hole yet. Get some showers before we take off. Looking at the Kit Fox Hills, Grapevine Mountains. Swing to the north a little bit up towards Titus Canyon. See Titus Canyon come out right about there somewhere. Yeah, let's see where I'm at. Oh, there's the big dune, big star dune complex. And hopefully none of our people have decided to try to go all the way out there, because it's a lot further than they think. As you can see, it's a ways. And that's a wrap for now. Well, it's 5:23. We're headed for Furnace Creek. And the day's really lightened up on us, and it's payback time. Punished us last night, but it doesn't get a whole lot better than this. The sun's come out, it's nice and warm. Everybody's in good spirits. Forgot about the mud, now we got something to talk about for a long time. The lighting just couldn't be better as we're driving along, and you're looking at the funeral and Grapevine Mountains to the north. This is the floral display of 1998, the year of El Nino. Probably won't see this for another 10 years or so, or maybe more. This is supposedly one of the best years in 35 years or more, some people saying best in the century. So one more pan here just to remind us what it looks like. Why do I come back to Death Valley every year? Well, I think the pictures tell it all. Here we are, just kind of looking the other way, just the other side of the road. We're looking right down the center of Death Valley, and in the background you can see the Black Mountains and Furnace Creek Wash and Furnace Creek area. So that's about it. We're heading for camp.